My name is Cassidy Vale. I'm 28, raised on a fifth-generation farm in northern Montana, the kind of place where dirt sticks to your soul and your last name means everything. My mother, Marisol, was the iron matriarch everyone feared. I was never her favorite. That was always my brother Ethan, the golden boy who died young and perfect, leaving me behind as the living disappointment. I'm a mechanic by trade, stubborn by nature, and the only daughter she never wanted. For years, I thought our silence was just grief wrapped in cold habit. But the day I woke up in a hospital bed after a crash and found out my mother had signed a DNR order on my behalf, while trying to steal the deed to our land, I realized silence can hide something far darker than grief. And that's when I knew. She didn't want to bury me because I was broken. She wanted to bury me because I was in the way. The hospital air was thick. Pine-scented antiseptic couldn't scrub out the taste of betrayal. I blinked hard at the overhead lights. My throat burned, my left arm was strapped, and the machines around me beeped like distant metronomes in a death march. Outside the glass, two voices hissed. One calm, one clinical. DNR's already signed. There's no one left to challenge it. A clipboard shuffled. She's responsive. You sure you want to hold to the order? Then I heard her voice. My mother's. Let her go. We won't pay for the surgery. Just sign the papers for the farm and the truck. Get it done. Silence. Then a new voice cut in. Male. Smooth. She hasn't coded. You'd need legal backing for withdrawal. She's a liability, not a legacy. I closed my eyes again, pretending I hadn't heard. They left 30 seconds later. I waited 60. Then I sat up, slow, breath by breath, and yanked the 4 from my hand. Pain clawed up my spine. My body protested. But survival doesn't wait for comfort. I slipped out of the side exit of the regional hospital using a borrowed hoodie from the empty visitor lounge and cash from my emergency stash, still taped behind the glove box of my beat-up truck. Only it wasn't there anymore. The truck was gone. Flatbed trailer marks in the gravel. A sold sign staked at the entrance of the hospital's long gravel drive. 3 hours later, I stood at the edge of our property line, staring at an excavator parked near the east barn. A man in a white button-up and a woman in real estate heels walked the perimeter. Marisol trailed behind, clipboard in hand. Her lips were pursed, her expression cold, focused, like someone signing off a business merger, not a daughter's grave. I turned away before she saw me. I needed time, proof, strategy, and someone I could trust. I headed straight for Fergus County Records, 20 miles out. The clerk, Shelley, remembered me. Ethan's little sister. The mechanic, quiet type. She typed a few keys. Looks like ownership of the Vale farm was transferred yesterday, she said. You weren't listed. That's impossible. It's mine. My father left it to me. She glanced up. Your mother submitted the deed, notarized. Signed over to Gravemont Holdings. Closed in 24 hours. No. No. Is the signature verified? Shelley hesitated. There's a discrepancy. Initials don't match on line 3, but it was pushed through anyway. Rush approval. My pulse rang in my ears. Who notarized it? She turned the screen. The name blinked in plain black text. Jude Kettering, Notary Public, Independent Contractor, Address unlisted. My mother's boyfriend. The one who disappeared a week after my accident. It was getting darker. Storms curled at the edges of the prairie sky. I drove out toward the last address I had for Jude. His trailer was gone, but the grass was flattened, cigarette butts, tire tracks, and a burned barrel still warm. Inside, I found half a document, singed but legible. My father's will, his real one, dated 2 months before his death, witnessed by his longtime lawyer, Margot Fine. He'd left everything to me, not Marisol, not the state, me. Someone had tried to destroy it, but not well enough. I didn't go home that night. I drove out to the edge of Havre and parked near the train yard. Used a burner phone to call Margot. I think they forged the transfer. There was silence on the other end. Then, you need to come in. Now. I've been waiting for this call for years. The last thing I saw before killing the engine was a black SUV parked 2 rows down. Engine off. No lights. But someone was sitting inside, watching. They didn't move when I did. They just waited, like they knew I'd come here eventually. They weren't wrong. They just didn't know what I planned next. They killed my father to get the land. Now they want me gone, too. But this time I'm ready. Margot's office smelled like burnt coffee and cold paper. The blinds were half closed, slicing shadows across her steel-gray suit as she paced behind her desk. Her office sat on the 3rd floor of a dull brownstone above a bakery no one ever entered. But from the moment I stepped in, it felt like the safest place I'd been in days. Which said a lot. She didn't offer a hug. Not her style. You walked out of a hospital without authorization, she said sharp. You understand what kind of trouble that could get you into. I'll take the heat, I said. I'm more worried about the hellstorm Marisol's building. Margot stopped pacing, tilted her head. Her eyes flicked to the envelope in my hand, the burned edge of my father's will. I placed it on her desk. They tried to destroy this. She didn't move for 3 seconds. Then she sat, slowly, like every muscle needed time to adjust. He knew, she said finally. He knew someone would come for it. I frowned. Who? A pause. Your mother. And Jude. And someone else. Someone you won't see coming. The hum of her desk fan filled the silence. You're not safe, Cassidy. Not even close. Cut. We sat with the file spread open, what was left of it. Pages were missing, but one thing was clear. The original had never been revoked, and the signature was authentic. You're the legal heir, Margot said, but proving it, that'll take more than a charred page. We'll need forensic verification, chain of custody records, and the notary logs. And they'll fight dirty. I already knew that. Margot slid a phone across the table. Record everything. Every call. Every visit. Every conversation. I nodded. Already started. Good girl. The rain started when I stepped outside. A cold, sharp drizzle. I moved fast to my truck, not the old Chevy, but a borrowed, rusted-out Jeep from Margot's partner. The windshield wiper squealed as I turned onto Main Street. That's when I saw him, parked across from the law office, window half down, hat pulled low. Not Jude. Older, pale, gray beard, watching. When I slowed, he looked away. When I passed, he pulled out behind me. Tail lights. Too close. Too smooth. I took a left onto Coldwater Road. No signal. No warning. He followed. I punched the gas. So did he. Okay, I muttered. We're doing this now. The gravel spit under my tires. I cut hard the bend. A back road through cornfields. Empty. Until he wasn't behind me. Gone. Just gone. I stopped. Engine running. Silence. Then a rustle. To my right, a flash of metal. Too late. Something hit the back of the Jeep. Hard. I spun out, tires screaming, heart hammering. I slammed the brake. Came to a stop, breathing like a hunted animal. Nothing but wind. Who the hell were they? Cut. I drove straight to Alec's shop on Riverbend. Locked gate, but I knew the code. Old friend. Marine vet. Run salvage and gun repairs. When he saw me, he didn't ask why I was shaking. Just handed me a flask. You look like someone who saw her own shadow, and it had teeth. I took a sip. Burned all the way down. I think someone's trying to kill me. He didn't laugh. Just nodded. Farm. I nodded. Marisol. She signed the DNR. Tried to flip the property. Faked the will. Alec scratched his beard. I always said she had wolf eyes. Pretty, but they don't blink when they bite. He walked to the back. Came out with a small box. Something your dad left with me. Said only give it to you if she ever came after the land. My breath caught. Inside, a thumb drive, a map, and a handwritten note. Cassidy, if you're reading this, it means the wrong people got brave. Follow the numbers. And never trust the obvious villain. It's never them. D. The map was old. Hand-drawn. Marked with red dots. One was right near the east barn, where the real estate developers had parked the excavator. Cut. I went back after midnight. Hood up. Dark clothes. No headlights. The barn was locked, but the padlock was rusted. I pried it open with a crowbar Alec gave me. Inside, dust. Tools. Empty crates. But under the false floorboards I found a safe. Code lock. No key. I tried Ethan's birthday. Didn't work. Then I tried mine. Click. Inside, files. Names. Transactions. Land purchase offers. Blackmail. My mother's signature on half of them. Then something worse. Documents notarized with Jude's name that predated my father's death, including power of attorney. That was illegal. He wasn't next of kin. He had no legal authority. Unless she had him listed as spouse. I flipped one final document. Marriage certificate. Vegas. 6 months before Dad died. The witnesses. One of them, Jude. The other, Harlan Flint. The man who just followed me. The man in the gray hat. He wasn't watching me. He was watching his investment. I heard a car door slam outside. And that's when I knew. I wasn't the only one who knew about the safe. The barn door creaked, louder than I wanted. Footsteps scraped against gravel outside. My breath locked. I killed the flashlight, slammed the safe shut, shoved the files back in, and dropped the false floorboard just as the handle jiggled. I backed into the shadows, crowbar tight in hand. The door opened. A figure slipped in. Lean. Quick. Wrong build for Jude. Not Marisol. Harlan Flint. His coat glistened from the rain. His left boot dragged a little. Limp. Useful detail. He didn't speak, just scanned the room like a predator. Then his eyes hit the floor, dead center, and he smiled. Thought you'd beat me to it, he said low. I didn't move. You're not as invisible as you think, Cassidy. He walked slow, like time owed him something, like we were the only 2 people left on Earth. What is this? I said. He ignored the question. Your father promised that safe would never be opened without me. We had a deal. Pretty sure he's not around to confirm that. He stopped 5 feet from me, close enough to smell the mint on his breath. Or maybe gun oil. You don't know what's in there, he said. I know enough. He tilted his head. Then you know why you should burn it. Every damn page. I gritted my teeth. I'm not covering for you. Not for me, he said softly. For your father. My fingers tightened on the crowbar. What the hell did he do? Flint stepped forward. I raised the crowbar. He paused, held his hands up. Suit yourself. But truth has a funny way of killing the messenger. He turned, walked out, calm, like we were done. But we weren't. I waited 10 seconds, then bolted to the safe again. Files clutched tight. Then I saw it. At the bottom, a manila envelope. Untouched. Inside, a USB drive. Labeled in my father's handwriting. Burn this if I die. But I didn't. By dawn, I was in Alec's basement. We kept the lights off. Just the glow of his rigged-up laptop, fan humming against heat. He clicked play. First, black screen. Then a voice. Dad's voice. If you're watching this, Cassidy, I'm sorry. He sounded tired. Worn. Marisol's planning something. I don't know everything. But she's with Jude now. And Flint. He's not what he seems. Cut. My will's hidden at the deposit box in Great Falls. Under the name Wren Beckley. It's the real one. Not what they'll try to show you. I leaned in. My heart pounded like fists on a steel door. Flint used to work for someone else. Out of Arizona. Land seizure cases. They clean dirty titles. Burn records. Make old owners vanish. Pause. He wanted this land. Not for farming. For fracking. Alec cursed under his breath. I signed a non-compete lease before I knew. Now they're trying to force me out. Marisol offered to help. Said she'd fight for us. Cut. She sold us out. I stared at the screen. He died knowing. By mid-morning, Margot had already pulled the Wren Beckley alias. Deposit box is still active, she confirmed. But if Flint or Jude figure it out, they won't. She nodded. You'll need someone to go with you. This can't look like a break-in. If anything happens to you on the road. I knew the implication. If I vanish, I said, release the copy. Margot hesitated, then slid me an envelope. And this is your insurance. Inside, a notarized affidavit. If anything happened to me, the FBI would get the drive. You're not crazy, she said, but you're playing with wolves. Wolves don't scare me, I said. Being silent does. That night I drove. The wind howled through the pass. Ethan's favorite song came on the radio, that old Johnny Cash track he played when we fixed up the barn. Funny how ghosts pick their moments. I reached Great Falls after midnight. Alex stayed outside, engine running. I walked into the credit union. Quiet. Motion sensors flicked the lights on. Clerk nodded. ID matched. Signature cleared. Box 73. Inside, a leather folder. I opened it. Original will. Date stamped. Witnessed. With an attached video. Another USB. I slipped it in my jacket. Then I heard the click. Behind me. The vault door. Closing. I turned. Jude. Smiling. Holding the key. Well, he said, I guess we all came to collect. I reached for my phone. He held up a signal jammer. No calls. No help. Just us now. And the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the vault. I stood still, eyes adjusting. The cold concrete walls echoed with nothing but my breath. Sharp. Fast. Jude's silhouette moved. Calm. Casual. Like this was a business meeting, not a setup. Give me the folder, he said. No threat in his voice. That made it worse. I stepped back. You married her. For land. Not love. He chuckled. Love is for fools. Land is forever. I kept my hand near my back pocket. My father's USB was still tucked into my jeans. Don't play this smart, Cassidy. You don't have time. He moved. I darted sideways, knocking over a rolling stool. It hit the ground hard, metal echoing like gunshots. I bolted for the emergency release, found the panel. Jude grabbed my arm, twisted hard. I screamed, elbowed him. He staggered. Your father was a good man, he spat, but soft. He never had the stomach for legacy. I punched the release. Red lights flared. Vault doors screamed open just enough. I slid through. Jude caught my sleeve, ripped it, but I was out. The front lobby was empty. Night guard nowhere. I ran. Out. Into the cold. Alec's truck lights flashed as he peeled up. I jumped in. He was waiting, I gasped. Inside. Locked me in. Let me guess. Smooth. Snake eyes. I nodded. Alec muttered. Goddamn parasites were people's faces. Back at Margot's, we locked down the drive. Tomorrow, she said, you file an emergency injunction. We present the will. Block the land sale. I have more than a will, I told her. I showed her the second drive. The one labeled burn this if I die. She raised an eyebrow. Open it. She did. Video files. Dozens. Transactions. Secret meetings. Marisol. Jude. Flint. And a man in a sheriff's uniform. Margot froze the frame. Sheriff Langton, she whispered. He's county. On zoning. He approved the fracking licenses, I said. Under ghost names. Shell Corps. All tying back to Gravemont Holdings. She leaned back. This is federal now. Good, said. They buried my father in contracts. I'm about to exhume every damn clause. We drove to the courthouse in the morning fog. Margot filed the injunction. Emergency hearing. Probate judge set for 3 p.m. By noon, my phone buzzed. Blocked number. I picked up. A woman's voice. Calm. Polished. You think you've won, but all you've done is set fire to your own roof. I said nothing. You could have walked away, Cassidy, but you always had that stubborn little chip on your shoulder, just like your father. Look what it did to him. It was her, Marisol. You tried to erase me, I said. You almost succeeded. You're not worth the soil you were raised on. I smiled, blood boiling. Then why are you so scared? Click. Inside the courthouse, the walls smelled like varnish and old coffee. The courtroom was empty except for the clerk, the judge, and 2 unfamiliar suits. When the judge called the case, Margot laid it all out. The will, the video, the notarization fraud, power of attorney manipulation. Then the bomb. The sheriff's office may be compromised. We request federal review. The suit stood up. FBI 1 said, We've been monitoring Gravemont Holdings for 8 months. Ms. Vale's evidence confirms multiple leads. Gasps. Then the side doors opened. Marisol entered, in a red coat, too bright, too clean. Jude followed, Harlan Flint close behind. Then another figure, Ethan. Alive. I stood, mouth open, brain blank. What? He looked thinner, pale, but it was him. Cass, he said, voice soft. I wanted to tell you. Jude shoved him forward. He's not your proof. He's ours. Judge banged the gavel. Order. Margot stepped up. Your Honor, We have sworn affidavits from multiple parties. This does not change the standing will. Ethan stepped closer to me. I didn't die, he whispered. I disappeared. They made me sign. Everything. Cut. I grabbed his wrist. Why? He didn't answer. Instead, he looked past me. His eyes widened. They followed us, he whispered. You brought them here. Rain hammered the courthouse windows as we walked into the cold marble hall. I kept my hood low, Margot at my side, briefcase tight as a coffin lid. Clerk tapped keys fast. Form slid across the counter. Emergency temporary restraining order. Farm and property transfer pending investigation. I signed. No hesitation. Outside, a door clicked. The world changed. Reporters swarmed. Flashbulbs burst like gunfire. Cameras shoved in my face. I felt naked, but I stayed. Miss Vale, is it true your mother tried to sign you out of your own life? One shouted. I didn't answer. I let the papers do the talking. Inside the courtroom, lawyers whispered. The judge leaned back. Margot spoke calm. Sharp. We have evidence of fraud. Notarized documents manipulated. Real will filed under alias Wren Beckley. Transfers made while Ms. Vale was incapacitated. She slid the second USB across the bench. The one labeled burn this if I die. She didn't press play, not yet. I surveyed the room. Marisol sat stone-faced. In red. Too polished. Jude and Flint flanked her. Their suits neat. Eyes hard. I swallowed. Heart fluttered like an owl's wings inside my chest. Then the side door opened. 2 men in suits walked in. One nodded at the bailiff. Federal investigators, the bailiff announced quietly. Office hush snapped. Marisol's eyes flicked. Flint froze. I remembered what Alex said. When a wolf puts on human skin, he never blinks. They don't blink. The man in suit cleared his throat. We've been monitoring Gravemont holdings for suspected illegal land seizures, racketeering, and corrupt official activity. Given the evidence before this court today, we are executing a freeze on all transactions and initiating federal seizure proceedings. Gasps. Cameras roared. Marisol rose. Her lips parted. Nothing came out. Flint's hand twitched. Jude glared. Sudden darkness. The projector behind me flickered. On screen, transfer ledgers, forged signatures, shell company wiring trails. A blurred image of Sheriff Langton shaking hands with Flint in a grainy parking lot photo. Badge half hidden. The room went silent. Then small voices, murmurs. Langton stood, face pale, suit neat. A trooper stepped in beside him, reading charges. You're under investigation, the trooper said, calm but loud. Langton's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. No sound. Marisol buried her face in her hands. Jude backed away. Flint swallowed, sweat glinting under the halogen court lights. I stepped forward, voice steady. This land was never yours to sell. My father didn't just leave me soil. He left me truth. The judge pounded the gavel. Orders shouted. Court cleared fast. Phones rang. Guards snapped doors shut. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sky cracked. A jagged slash of lightning. Reporters surrounded them. Microphones thrust forward. Marisol tried. My daughter, she's unwell. No one listened. Grip had shifted. Sirens. Black SUVs. Unmarked cars. The courthouse steps flooded with agents. Cameras recorded. I backed against a column, breathing heavy. Thunder rumbled. Somewhere behind me, someone whispered. They killed my father to get the land. Now they want me gone too, but this time I'm ready. And the crowd parted like a wound. Sirens screaming, flashing lights, agents leading Marisol, Jude Flint, and Sheriff Langton down the steps, handcuffed. A cordon of yellow tape snapped into place. Federal evidence section. I closed my eyes. A storm of guilt, relief, and cold anger washed over me. A reporter shoved a mic in my face. Cassidy, what happens to the farm now? I opened my eyes. Rain dripped from my hair. I looked at the old barn, slotted in the distance. The fields. The old pickup. Justice, I whispered. Justice for every inch they tried to steal. The farm was quiet the morning after the arrests. Too quiet. Fog hugged the fields like something grieving. The barn door creaked in the wind. A hawk screamed far off, sharp as torn metal. I stepped onto the porch, boots sinking into damp wood. My breath came out slow. For the first time in weeks, nobody was watching me. No footsteps behind me. No truck idling down the road. No eyes through windows. Just silence. But it wasn't peace. Not yet. I walked toward the old truck, my dad's truck, its blue paint cracked like old riverbeds. My fingers skimmed the handle. Cold. Solid. Mine. Behind me, the house door opened. Alec. He held 2 coffee mugs, and that cautious look people wear around broken things. You sure you want to be alone today? He asked. I've been alone through worse, I answered, then added softly, but thanks. He set 1 mug on the hood. Fog makes everything look haunted, he said. Maybe that's life's way of reminding us we survived the ghosts. I huffed a laugh. Maybe. Cut scene. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Margot. Federal update. Langton cooperating. New testimony implicates your mother more directly. Prep for statement. Call ASAP. My stomach twisted. I dialed. Margot answered on the first ring. Cassidy. They cut a deal with Langton. He's not fighting charges. And what he said, it's bad. I braced. Tell me. Your mother didn't just sign to sell the farm. She initiated the move to have you declared mentally incompetent after your crash. Conservatorship petition. DNR recommendation. Same structure used in elder exploitation cases. She wanted you out of the way. Permanently. Air left my lungs. A slow, painful drag. She said, Margot hesitated. She said you never valued the land properly, and she refused to let a sentimental girl block a family win. Cut scene. The ground tilted. I grabbed the truck door. A memory surfaced, her voice in the hospital, soft, rehearsed. Let her pass. We won't pay for the surgery. Sign the papers for the farm and the truck. I'd pretended it was shock, grief, fear, but she'd meant it. She tried to kill me for dirt and machinery, I whispered. No, Margot said gently. For control. People like Marisol always choose power over blood. I closed my eyes. Alex stepped closer, steadying me with a hand on my arm. You know, he murmured, my dad used to say the cruelest people don't break you. They convince you you're already broken. They don't want your life. They want your will. I swallowed hard. Well, she didn't get that. No, she didn't. Cut scene. Agents arrived that afternoon. Plain SUVs. Quiet feet on gravel. They returned more documents recovered from the Gravemont server raid. Real ledgers. Off-the-books transactions. Audio clips. Proof. Federal proof. The agent handed me a sealed envelope. We thought you might want this. It was in the possession of Flint Keener. He labeled it Veil Leverage. Leverage. My hands shook, tearing it open. Inside, a flash drive, a typed transcript, and a note written in her hand. If you had just signed the land over, none of this would have been necessary. I felt the burn spread down my throat. A line rose in my mind, one I'd heard long ago in a book Dad left on my shelf. Some people aren't afraid to cross lines because they never believe they belong to anyone. That was my mother. Lines meant nothing to her. I pocketed the flash drive. Cut scene. Sun dipped low. I walked the field edges, shoes kicking dead stalks. The soil smelled like smoke and rain. A hawk swooped overhead, its shadow slicing across the earth. A whisper came back to me, Dad's voice this time. Land doesn't just hold roots. It holds truth. And truth always shows itself, even if it burns first. Maybe this was the burning. I reached the old line of pecan trees. The wind moved through them, leaves shaking like low applause. Alec joined me. You're not obligated to stay here, he said. You know that, right? I know. You're also not obligated to forgive her. I know that too. I turned, met his eyes. You think I should leave? I think, he said carefully, that some homes break people, and some rebuild them. Only you know which this is. The sun cracked through clouds then, thin, gold, soft, lighting the old barn, the truck, the fields my father loved so fiercely he wrote them into my bones. For the first time, the land didn't feel like responsibility. It felt like inheritance, not the legal kind, the kind made of stories and scars. Cut scene. Later, sitting on the hood of the truck, I opened the flash drive on my laptop. The screen glowed. There were files, 5, maybe 6, labeled simply. Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, Year 4, Year 5, Hospital. I clicked the last one. The video was grainy. Hospital lights. Cold metal. My mother's voice. Let her pass. We won't pay for the surgery. Sign the papers for the farm and the truck. Then another voice, Jude's. What if she wakes up? A pause. Then her, she won't. My hand covered my mouth. A quote drifted through my head, one I'd heard from an old teacher. Blood creates relation. Choice creates family. I clicked the laptop shut. End scene. Standing, I looked across the land. My land. There's no longer. And I felt something crack open, not fear, not anger. Clarity. Maybe people think thrillers end with arrests or court rulings, or someone dying in a dramatic blaze. But sometimes the real ending is quieter, simpler. It's choosing what happens after the worst is over. I breathed in the cold air. I let it out. My father's land stays with me, I said to the wind. And so does the truth. Folk shifted. Horizon steady. The danger was gone. But what came next was mine to build. Justice wasn't loud. It wasn't cinematic. It was this, stillness after the storm. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of it.